Looks like Zoom is joining the few folks who are still in the waiting room.
Okay, well, let's go ahead and get started. We have some preliminary matters to take into account here. Ms. Larson, would you like to take the roll, please?
Yes. Commissioner Gibbs. Commissioner Gonzalez.
Present.
Commissioner McGowan.
She's unmuting.
Here.
Thank you. Commissioner Mesner.
Here.
Commissioner Nanjapa.
Here.
Commissioner Putnam. Commissioner Robbins.
Here.
Mr. Chair, you have 5 out of 7 commissioners present.
Okay, and that is a quorum. A majority of the voting members is a quorum, and we have a all 5 of the voting members here. Today is a day in which this commission will initially take public comment. We've got a bunch of folks signed up, and we've got a list, and Ms. Larson, I'll let you roll through that here in just a second. Before we get to that, though, we did have a order of business that we needed to take care of. The statute specifically provides, and I'm reading 3460-104.3 2B, that each appointed commissioner before entering the duties of office shall take the constitutional oath of office. We did have a meeting last week. It was kind of a meet and greet meeting. We did not undertake business, and we've taken no business yet. So it is appropriate now for appointed commissioners to take the constitutional oath of office. I would point out 2 things to everyone that's joined us here. One is that the previous act, when we had the volunteer commissioners, did not have an oath of office requirement in the act. So just wanted everyone to know that. And then secondly, the oath of office is specifically required of the appointed commissioners, and that's the 5 full-time professional commissioners. And so with that, I'd like to turn this over to Assistant Attorney General Kyle Davenport. Kyle, if you could walk us through this, and then after that, we'll roll right into public comment.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Commissioners, the first thing that we need to do to comply with the statute is to have a motion to designate me, Assistant Attorney General Kyle Davenport, to administer oaths of office for the commission. So if one commissioner could make that motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Do we have a second? Okay, thank you, Commissioner McGowan. All those in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Looks like the motion passes. What's next, Attorney General Davenport?
Mr. Chair, the next thing is the oath for each one of you. And Mr. Chair, you'll be our guinea pig on this. I'm going to ask you to raise your right hand and then to repeat after me, please. I state your name.
I, Jeff Robbins,
Do affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
do affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Colorado,
the Constitution of the State of Colorado,
and the laws of the State of Colorado,
and the laws of the State of Colorado,
and will faithfully perform the duties of the office of
and will faithfully perform the duties of the office of
Commissioner of the Colorado Oil and Gas Conservation Commission,
Commissioner of the Colorado Oil and Gas Conservation Commission,
upon which I am about to enter to the best of my ability.
upon which I'm about to enter to the best of my ability.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We will then go through the remaining 4 voting commissioners. I'll do this in alphabetical order. So Commissioner Gonzalez.
Yes, sir.
All right. Please raise your right hand. And repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Bill Gonzalez,
Do affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
do affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Colorado,
the Constitution of the State of Colorado,
and the laws of the State of Colorado,
and the laws of the State of Colorado,
and will faithfully perform the duties of the office of
and will faithfully perform the duties of the office of
Commissioner of the Colorado Oil and Gas Conservation Commission,
Commissioner of the Colorado Oil and Gas Conservation Commission,
upon which I am about to enter to the best of my ability.
upon which I am about to enter to the best of my ability.
Thank you, Commissioner Gonzalez. Commissioner McGowan,
Yes.
please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Karen McGowan,
Do affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
do affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Colorado,
the Constitution of the State of Colorado,
and the laws of the State of Colorado,
and the laws of the State of Colorado,
and will faithfully perform the duties of the office of
and will faithfully perform the duties of the office of
Commissioner of the Colorado Oil and Gas Conservation Commission,
Commissioner of the Colorado Oil and Gas Conservation Commission,
upon which I am about to enter to the best of my ability.
upon which I am about to enter to the best of my ability.
Thank you, Commissioner McGowan. Commissioner Messner,
Yes, sir.
all right, please raise your right hand. And the oath begins. I state your name, please.
I, John Messner,
Do affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
do affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Colorado,
the Constitution of the State of Colorado,
and the laws of the State of Colorado,
and the laws of the State of Colorado,
and will faithfully perform the duties of the office of
and will faithfully perform the duties of the office of
Commissioner of the Colorado Oil and Gas Conservation Commission,
Commissioner of the Colorado Oil and Gas Conservation Commission,
upon which I am about to enter to the best of my ability.
upon which I am about to enter to the best of my ability.
Thank you, Commissioner Messner.
Thank you.
Commissioner Najapa.
Yes, sir.
All right. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name,
I, Priya Nanjapa,
do affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
do affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Colorado,
the Constitution of the State of Colorado,
and the laws of the State of Colorado,
and the laws of the State of Colorado,
and will faithfully perform the duties of the office of
and will faithfully perform the duties of the office of
Commissioner of the Colorado Oil and Gas Conservation Commission,
Commissioner of the Colorado Oil and Gas Conservation Commission,
upon which I am about to enter to the best of my ability.
upon which I am about to enter to the best of my ability.
Thank you, Commissioner Najapa. Mr.
Thank you.
Chair, that completes the oaths.
Thank you, Assistant Attorney General Davenport, and thank you, commissioners. That was a somewhat historic moment, so good for all of us. We now will move into the agenda, which we decided last week that we would meet weekly, and that this first week would be a meeting in which we entertain public comment from members of the public. I noted in chat that folks were wondering about sort of the format of public comment. I will give a brief outline and then I'll turn it over to Hearings Officer Larson. But we are set to meet until approximately 10:30 this morning. At 11, this Zoom format, we'll have a meeting on the pre-hearing conference for the mill levy rulemaking, and the commissioners are invited to listen into that as well. We then will start back up at 1 o'clock with public comment again, and we'll run until we get through, hopefully by about 2:30. We have 60 some odd people signed up for public comment, and we have several elected officials and or municipal or county employees, and we historically have allowed those folks to participate first, and so we will do that today. For elected officials or local government administrator, et cetera, those folks will have 5 minutes to speak, and then for general members of the public, we will have 3 minutes. Ms. Larson has encouraged everyone to attend Zoom with your name as opposed to a phone number, so that we are readily able to find you amongst the 100 or so participants that we have. That exhausts my information in terms of introducing this. Ms. Larson, do you want to add to that, correct anything, or take it away?
I will take it away. Everything you said was great. So our first public commenter is Commissioner Jankowski. Commissioner, I will unmute you and your time will begin. Let's see here. Try this again. There you are. You're unmuted, Commissioner.
This is Tom Jankowski. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
We can.
Okay, good. I'm Tom Jankowski, Garfield County Commissioner, and just want to congratulate all of the new commissioners to the Oil and Gas Commission and welcome you. Garfield County will be working with you through this whole rulemaking process, and we look forward to that. Garfield County is a member of the Western and Rural Local Governments Coalition, which is a coalition of 15 counties and 8 municipalities, all rural counties, both the eastern and western slopes. Garfield County stretches from Glenwood Canyon to the Utah border. The county seat is Glenwood Springs. We are home to the Piceance Basin, along with Rio Blanco County. Piceance Basin is the second largest natural gas, has the second largest natural gas reserves in the United States, according to the latest USGS survey. We have 11,000 producing wells in Garfield County, all natural gas wells. Oil and gas industry represents 7% of our economy. We actually have a fairly diverse economy. 7% of the jobs, anyway, in our economy. However, when it comes to tax revenues, right now, natural gas for the county itself is 53% of the property tax. And for many of our special districts, such as fire districts, hospital districts, 3 fire districts, 2 school districts, 1 hospital district, a park and rec district, all the libraries in the county, and Colorado Mountain College, and many more special districts, including the Colorado Water District. The property tax represents almost 80% of the revenues for some of those special districts in the western end of our county. When you look at things from the ground, since Senate Bill 181 has been stated from 2 years ago. 2 years ago, we had 5 rigs drilling in Garfield County. Today, we have 1 rig. And some people say that's the price of natural gas. However, the price of natural gas has been fairly constant during those 2 years. The Air Quality Control Commission, when it had its rulemaking, they put 1,000 of our low-producing wells at risk because those wells become uneconomic when you have to retrofit those wells. Also, that right now there is no capital coming in for production into Western Garfield County. So so what you do as far as rulemaking makes a big difference. it adds to the cost of production, and just wants you to be aware of the social economic issues that are out there. I just want to go to, one size doesn't fit all, and that you'll really hear that from the rural counties, that what's going on in the Front Range, in the urban areas, and the rules and regulations you may make there for the urban areas don't necessarily work as well, or they may be punitive to the rural areas as far as these jobs being able to continue in our area. Also, there is a difference between natural gas production and oil production. So want you to take that into consideration. We look forward to working with you. We'd just like to ask you to use common sense, look at the best technologies that are out there, the best science, and also look at the socioeconomic consequences, which I've been talking about. Because the rules and regulations can add cost to the production of natural gas, and which can end up in lower production, lower jobs, and lower tax revenues. And then finally, we do have some urban areas in Garfield County. Battlement Mesa, which is in the unincorporated Garfield County next to Parachute, Colorado, has about 5,000 population, and we have had some drilling in the Battlement Mesa PUD. We were lucky that because of technology, we were able to go from requests from 9 pads down to 4 pads in the PUD, and 2 of those have been drilled. You will hear from some individuals later on, I'm sure, that they represent the majority of the people in Battlement Mesa area, and I'll just state that when we were drilling in Battlement Mesa, I was going door to door, and I could hear the fracking, and I was in the precinct where the drilling was going on. I carried 80% of the vote, and I'm a pro oil and gas commissioner. So I just wanted to put that on the table for Garfield County. Again, thank you for your service, and we look forward to working with you in the future, and you'll hear from us quite a bit. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Jankowski.
Next up, we have Ms. Lowry from the Cheyenne and Sedgwick County Attorney. Give me a moment, Ms. Lowry, and I will unmute you.
All right. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So yes, I have the privilege of representing both Cheyenne County and Sedgwick County, both very small rural counties on the eastern side of Colorado. So first and foremost, I want to say thank you for having us give comment, and also welcome to the new commissioners that are now part of this coalition, and thank you for all you will do and have done. So with that said, I'm going to try and keep my comments fairly brief. I have the luxury of representing 2 very small rural counties in Colorado. Just to put in perspective, Cheyenne County's landmass is about 2,000 square miles, and we have about 2,000 people. So I'm not great at math, but maybe none of you are either. That's 1 person per square mile. That's a little bit different than our rural counterparts in Denver, Fort Collins, the I-25 corridor, and it makes things a little bit different. It makes what we value and what we know a little bit different too, and that's land. When you deal with rural America, one thing that we know we have to do is we have to represent and we have to take care of our land and do it differently, because we only have certain industries. We have farming and oil and gas. Cheyenne County, more so than Sedgwick County, has a larger oil and gas production that you will see present. And so with that said, I mean, you guys will also know from your position that you have to take care of the land in order to keep it, in order to keep our industries going. And oil and gas is a huge part of what Mr. Jankowski just talked about, our tax base, providing for our education, providing for our schools and districts, and adding jobs. We don't have a lot of job opportunities. We don't have a lot of new businesses coming in. So what we do have to do is make sure we take care of the land. And if that's oil and gas or in anything rural-based production, we do that. So we just ask that you guys, when you're doing your rulemaking, you take into consideration those different considerations between urban and rural, that we do understand and value making sure that our natural resources are preserved, and that we take care of our people so that we can add jobs, we can add tax bases, and we can go from there. So with that said, I'm not going to keep harping on some things that you guys are going to hear for the rest of the day, but I just wanted you to kind of know what Cheyenne County, where Sedgwick County is, if you ever want to come visit, when we ever get out of COVID and you want to get out of the Zoom meetings sector. Our commissioners, our people would love to have you come out there and see what that side of Colorado is all about. So with that, I appreciate your time and look forward to working with you guys in the future.
Thank you, Ms. Lowry. Appreciate those comments. Ms. Larson?
Thank you. Next, we have Commissioner Jones from Boulder.
Good morning, everybody. This is a big day. Thanks for serving on this commission, and I appreciate Commissioner Besner's wardrobe choice this morning. It looks very familiar to what I have on. So I'm a Boulder County Commissioner now. I used to be a state representative and a state senator, and during that time, over 8 years, I worked on a lot of bills having to do with oil and gas. Mission change bill twice, local control bills twice, financial assurance. And this is a very long road where we are now. And Senate Bill 181 sets up a lot of work that we've done over the years to protect people. And I have one request to you. Be bold in your protection of Coloradans and the environment as is required in Senate Bill 181. As you know, oil and gas operations are inherently dangerous. They can have explosions, they off-gas organic compounds, which can be carcinogenic. In Erie, we have children having very high levels of VOCs in their blood, which could lead to all sorts of cancers like leukemia. And when you put wells in that kind of matrix, you're going to have problems. And so protection should be the number one thing in my mind. And you're setting the floor for the whole state. Everybody's lungs and life and safety are important in this state. You're doing the minimum protections, and they should be very, very strong. That's what Senate Bill 181 requires of you. And also what Senate Bill 181 does is requires you to give deference to local governments. So in other words, we would set the ceiling on regulations as driven by our local constituencies. The other thing I suggest is you tap into our staff's expertise in figuring out how to incorporate planning principles as they are being newly introduced. Things like alternative site analysis, evaluation of cumulative impacts, comprehensive planning. Local governments do that all the time. That's the bread and butter of local governments. And we can bring a lot to the table to help you sort through these issues. I want to take a second to talk about economic considerations. As you know, oil and gas is a roller coaster industry. It is driven lately by the Saudis and the Russians. That's why the prices are where they are. They go up and down. A few years ago, we had a downturn as well. And before that, it was up. And in Senate Bill, or in 2008, when they passed a bunch of reforms, the legislature passed a bunch of reforms, and there were rulemakings around that. The word was it was going to drive the industry out of Colorado. Well, we have double the number of wells now from that time. And Senate Bill 181 says you protect people, and these economic considerations are very secondary to that. And by the way, their economic considerations play out differently in different counties. In Boulder County, having oil wells in there helps us, hurts us to try to attract tech jobs, high tech, space tech, clean tech, biotech. So it breaks both ways, but the bottom line is the Senate Bill 181, again, is about protection. And we were driving for that for years. And now that's the mission and what we have to do. So again, I ask you, be bold in your protection of Coloradans and the environment as required by Senate Bill 181. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, Commissioner Jones. Ms. Larson?
Yes, next up we have Mr. Kirby Wynn, representative of Garfield County.
There we are. Should be unmuted. And my name is Kirby Wynn. I'm oil and gas liaison for Garfield County. For about the last 9-10 years, I've focused on oil and gas issues across our county that has 11,000 wells in it. And I am the complaints department. I'm the one that folks call at midnight if they have a question or issue. Probably on a scale of 10 to 1 or probably even a higher ratio, I get the calls more than, say, your inspection staff do, because I'll pick up that phone anytime, day or night, and I'm not knocking on Oil and Gas Commission, but at a local level, we do take care of oil and gas issues and concerns. We get right on it. I do want to, again, start off really welcoming you and congratulating you and giving empathy for you you're going to have a tough task. I mean, your first couple of months on the job, you're going to do one of the most difficult things you may do for your whole tenure, which is to navigate this rulemaking with 90+ parties with disparate views. So again, thank you for taking on that task. We definitely look forward to working with you. And relative to your staff, I just want to mention, we have Oil and Gas Commission staff out here in Garfield County. And sometimes you'll hear people say you don't have enough staff or whatever. All I can say is every time I've called the Oil and Gas Commission and expressed that there was a concern or issue that I see or the resident reported and then I confirmed or whether I didn't, your staff has been responsive and they've made the time to make sure that people are taken care of and safety issues are addressed and nuisance issues are addressed. So you really have an impressive staff. It goes all the way from the leadership on down, but I will focus my attention on those sergeants and the field hands out there in the oil and gas patch that I see on a daily basis that really do that heavy lifting. I do think put a great face on the Oil and Gas Commission for you out there on a daily basis. Our Garfield County is a member of, we have 23 local governments, the Western and Rural Local Government Coalition. That's 7 counties in Western Colorado, 8 counties in far Eastern Colorado, and 8 municipalities. What that speaks to as much as anything is the importance of the oil and gas rulemaking and making sure that we have rules that work well for our area as well as the dense front range urban areas that really seem to be the source of most the largest proportion of the oil and gas issues really that brought about things like Senate Bill 181. So we look forward to working with you at the rulemakings and providing hopefully some good ideas and thoughts for you all to consider on what best sort of rules might look like and to see some opportunities to have the type of flexibility. It's not every day that Garfield County lines up with Boulder County on issues, but I have to say that Commissioner Matt Jones said it as well as anything. Senate Bill 181 empowered local governments to regulate oil and gas. That's absolutely true, and it swings a lot of different ways. I think there's a great opportunity to craft rules that will meet the community needs, the cultural needs, the political needs, et cetera, of an area like Boulder County and urban areas as well as much as it will for the rural areas. And so we'll be making proposals and we look forward to talking to y'all, engaging y'all and all the other parties to find that sort of balance where all the local governments have the deference that they need as long as they're taking care of public health, safety, welfare, and environment. And we have some approaches just to do that. Again, we look forward to participating with you in the rulemaking. And again, we see a real opportunity for an effective and collaborative partnership between our counties, the municipalities, and the COGCC in the management of oil and gas and the permitting of oil and gas that will serve our constituents in our areas as well as all of Colorado. I think lastly, I'd like to invite you to and hope that you have the opportunity to learn about the diverse oil and gas types of development around Colorado and the diverse terrain, geology, the communities and cultures across Colorado where oil and gas development occurs. We absolutely in Garfield County invite you to come visit us. I believe the Commissioner Jankowski had mentioned that as well probably. So we might arrange a tour and offer an opportunity to meet our residents and local officials and perhaps even some of our everyday industry folks. And you can also see in person some of your OGCC field staff out there that live in our communities. And perhaps we can show you a little bit about how, as a local government, we successfully work with operators to ensure oil and gas development is done safely, which we're already doing. I'll just leave it at that. And again, welcome you all and appreciate you all taking the charge that you have. It's a difficult task. And we do look forward to working with you collaboratively on the rulemaking.
Thank you, Mr. Wynn, for those comments. I would note for the record, there's a animal above you that is eating, so be careful. Next.
Next, we have County Commissioner Corkle from Jackson County.
All right, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right, good morning. So yeah, I think everyone's kind of touched on it, but thank you for what you're doing. I think all of us here kind of have similar roles and to a certain extent, you don't get a lot of thanks. So we'll start off that way for sure. Jackson County is somewhat new to the big player as far as oil and gas. We've recently seen a big uptick in oil production here in the last 10 years for sure. We're a county that's located right between Routt and Larimer. Our square mileage is about 1,600 square miles. Population is 1,400. So not very densely populated at all. Our main producer, I think I could count on one hand how many families, and maybe two hands, how many families are in that oil patch. And they're a very responsible operator, and our community is pretty lucky to have them. Various government agencies such as CPW, the BLM, speak very highly of them. And a lot of that's partnership with the COGCC and regulating how things happen in that regard, because we do have the greater sage grouse in Jackson County, which is an animal that's been close to being on the endangered list. And our producers have to keep that in mind. And they work great with our government entities, and they're always there to say that and make sure that in the habitat of that greater sage grouse is not affected. But here in the last 10 years, oil and gas has changed the dynamics of Jackson County extensively. In 2019, our assessed valuation was $61 million. It's $97 million this year, with $33 million of that coming from new oil production, which helps all of our mill levies greatly. Our hospital board, which funds our ambulance service, which we have no hospital in Jackson County. Everyone gets either flown out or taken by ambulance to Laramie, Wyoming, or Steamboat Springs, or somewhere on the Front Range. It's allowed our hospital board to hire 3 full-time EMTs, which does help the people of Jackson County, and it helps those traveling through. So our average wages have gone up about 15%. Then just the financial impact is there. But I agree that public safety is a very important matter, and the additional tax income helps with us forming a public health department and keeping that moving forward with COVID. It allows for more funds for local government to make change. And our sales tax revenue doubled last year. That helps our school district, which gets 1% of all its county sales tax. It helps our general fund. It helps our recreation fund. There's all sorts of benefits from that. And it's not just financial. And some people would argue also that finances are a part of public health, because it allows for people to take care of themselves. So here in Jackson County, we are just grateful for oil and gas, but we're also very grateful for the environment that we have. We love our scenery. We love our small community. And we hope that you'll let us have some say in how our area is regulated. We're not the Front Range. You'll hear that probably multiple times today, but we're a little bit different than the Front Range. We're willing to work with you however we can. So thank you for your time, and appreciate it.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you for those comments. Ms. Larson? Oh, you're on mute, Ms. Larson.
Thank you. Next up, we'll turn to general public comment. We do have a number of elected officials that have asked to speak in the afternoon. So when we reconvene at 1 o'clock, we'll call on them. So next up, we have Mr. Dan Haley. Mr. Haley, you should be unmuted. Try this one more time. There you are.
There
Your
we
time
go.
was the charm.
We got it? Okay, thanks. Morning, everybody. My name is Dan Haley. I'm the CEO of the Colorado Oil and Gas Association. We're a statewide trade association that represents about 250 members that represent the entire value chain of our oil and natural gas system here in Colorado. I want to introduce myself to you this morning and introduce KOGA to you and thank you for serving our state and for accepting your appointment to this new professional commission. We're excited to meet with you and work with you in the coming months and years as we all work toward our common goals of producing the cleanest and safest molecules of energy possible. KOGA and its members are prepared to be active participants in your rulemaking process, and we want to be a resource for all of you as you begin this important work. Our team at KOGA and many of our members engage with the COGC staff year-round, and I'd be remiss if I didn't acknowledge the hard work COGCC employees do every day to ensure that our industry can operate safely and responsibly in Colorado. We recognize the importance of having a robust set of rules and regulations to ensure the state's environment remains protected, but it's also important to make Colorado a state where oil and gas companies want to do business, where the rules and regulations are stable and predictable. KOGA's members remain committed to maintaining a strong focus on health and safety and are committed to producing resources better and safer than ever before. The oil and natural gas molecules produced in Colorado are among the cleanest in the world. Under Colorado's rigorous regulatory framework, our companies are utilizing state-of-the-art technology and innovation to decrease emissions, reduce leaks, limit venting and flaring, and disturb less land. The end result is abundant, efficient, and affordable energy that's sourced and produced locally in one of the safest and most environmentally sound manners anywhere. That matters, particularly if the alternative is relying on energy produced by countries with poor labor standards and environmental practices. Historically, Colorado has also been a model of constructive engagement, of coming together as diverse stakeholders and doing the difficult work of hashing out our differences, finding solutions that work for all of Colorado. It's our sincere hope that that continues. Let's continue to focus on what we have in common, that we all consume energy, that we all want what is best for our families and our communities, and that we all want to live in a special state where the economy is as healthy as the environment. Undoubtedly, these are challenging times as we all work through this pandemic and seek some sort of sense of normalcy. Our health and our economic foundations have been shaken in this state, and industries across our state are struggling, including ours. But the incredible men and women who work in this industry every single day are looking to you for a fair shake. They're looking for a path forward to continue their careers well into the future in Colorado. So thank you again for your service, and thank you for your time today.
Thank you, Mr. Haley, for those comments. Appreciate that. Ms. Larson?
Yes. So next up we have Ms. Jill Fulcher. Ms. Fulcher, you should be unmuted.
Thank you very much, Ms. Larson. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Great, thank you. I've had some connectivity issues today, so I wanted to make sure. Good morning, commissioners, and welcome. My name is Jill Fulcher. I'm with the law firm of Beatty & Wozniak, where I'm a shareholder. And I just wanted to take a minute or two to introduce myself and then to welcome you to the commission and to congratulate you on your new posts. Beatty & Wozniak is a law firm headquartered in Denver, where we focus on representing oil and gas companies in all aspects of law. And my practice focuses primarily on representing oil and gas companies in the regulatory sphere. And in that capacity, my job has focused very heavily on representing companies before the COGCC. I can tell you it's an absolute privilege to represent oil and gas companies. The folks that make up this industry are some of the most intelligent, caring, creative folks I've ever met. I never cease to be amazed that they see a challenge and they meet it and they exceed it. And it's an absolute honor to consider myself a part of the oil and gas industry. It's also an honor and a privilege to represent companies before the COGCC. This body is incredible. The folks that have made up volunteer commissions in the past have been dedicated, have worked tirelessly on previous rulemakings to continue to make Colorado the leader in setting the tone for how oil and gas is developed. But your staff is also incredible. It's wonderful to get to work with them almost daily. Again, intelligent. You can't find a better group of folks making up an agency. So it's just a wonderful privilege to work with your staff as well. And with that, I want to congratulate you all on your posts. I look forward to practicing before you. Congratulations to Chairman Robbins for your new post, and thank you for your work as director over this past year and a half, which I know has been tireless. And congratulations to Director Murphy for returning as director. I look forward to working with you as well. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Fulcher. Ms.
Thank,
Whitman?
yes, so next up we have Chelsea Miera. Ms. Miera, you are unmuted.
Thank you. Good morning, Chair Robbins and Commissioners. Thanks for the opportunity to speak with you this morning, and congratulations again. I think you'll get to hear that more often this morning than probably ever again on your new roles. My name is Chelsea Miera. I'm the Executive Director of West Slope Colorado Oil and Gas Association. We represent over 80 operators, contractors, and companies who produce and transport safe, affordable, and reliable natural gas from primarily the Piceance Basin. The Piceance is the second largest natural gas basin in the country, as stated by the U.S. Geological Survey. The Piceance is the second, doing some overly simplified math, if we would assume that all of Colorado's 1.6 million households were able to heat their homes with natural gas, we could power just our state's home for 621 years to come. To say we have the ability to produce our energy safely and economically here and to not rely on OPEC and Russia is an understatement. I can appreciate how you all are drinking from the fire hose. I'm fairly new in my role as well. One thing I ask is that we continue to communicate transparently and often, as the Piceance is a unique basin with unique operating conditions and requirements than what many of you may be familiar with along the Front Range. We have many operations on federal lands and work on some of the most stringently regulated areas in the states, if not the country. We look forward to showing and explaining those differences and working together for a better understanding of one another. Because of innovations in Colorado's rigorous regulatory framework and environmental rules, we produce the cleanest molecules of natural gas and oil in the world. Not only is natural gas clean and affordable for our state, region, and country, it also has the highest energy density, meaning the smallest surface impact of any energy source available today, including related mining, transmission, capacity factors, and waste. Natural gas features the smallest physical footprint of about 12 acres per megawatt produced. Our West Slope operators are not only committed to providing reliable and clean energy to our region and potentially the world, we are also heavily involved in our communities, even beyond the important tax revenues you heard about earlier from some of our local elected officials. Many of the good men and women who work in the Piceance Basin are natives or near natives of the West Slope. I myself am a fifth generation West Sloper, and my husband and I moved back here to raise our children with the same values as our members show on a daily basis. At the beginning of the COVID-19 crisis, our operators, employees jumped into action. Not only were they deemed essential by the governor to provide resource to power our hospitals and homes and keep us connected to family, school, and work, we saw financial and volunteer contributions to Food Bank of the Rockies, a one-call crisis response software, and drivers to deliver critical goods to our rural community all across our region. Our companies and the good men and women of our industry are a piece of the wonderful fabric and in the communities we live and work in. We are all committed to working with you all in a productive and honest way through rulemakings and beyond to continue to produce safe and clean energy for the benefit of us all. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you for your testimony. We appreciate that. Ms. Larson, next.
Yes, next up we have Mr. Sam Bradley. Mr. Bradley, give me a moment and we will get you unmuted. There you are. You are ready to go, Mr. Bradley.
Morning. Let me see if I can get my camera working here. Awesome. Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you for this time and welcome to the new commissioners. My name is Sam Bradley. I am the owner of Impetro Resources, which is a producer and an operator. I'm the manager of Small Operator Society, which is a trade in Colorado. And I'm a partner in Summit Companies, which is an oil and gas service company. We have a lot of good people, even though it's been a bloody 2020 and our level of layoffs has been double digit. if you look at the current drilling info data, it says Colorado has 6 active rigs, which I've heard some estimates that it's more like 4, which is significantly below the 35 active rigs that were running in January of 2019. The point is that there's no reason to rush this rulemaking process in the middle of this pandemic. Kind of going along the lines of some of the county commissioners' comments this morning, in Colorado, there's about 46,000 active wells. However, only 1/3 of these are in the Front Range counties, okay? So this kind of goes along with some of the points of the commissioners that statewide rules are not appropriate for the majority of active wells in Colorado, or really the majority of the population in Colorado. So to look at that a different way, 2/3 of the active wells in Colorado are in rural areas, not near any population center. And as some of the commissioners noted this morning, again, these rural areas are especially dependent on oil and gas. You know, as a Coloradan, I'm a native Coloradan, and we all depend on oil and gas. All electric generation depends on oil and gas, right? And you don't have to take my word for it. You can watch the Michael Moore documentary on YouTube. Our industry is well regulated. There's not an imminent threat to public welfare based on the current regulations. So let's take our time and do this correctly after the pandemic ends. You know, the Boulder County Commissioner stated that this industry is inherently dangerous, and that is not true. Please take time to review the ratings and studies from OSHA, the EPA, and CDPHE. So I welcome you all. This commission has a unique opportunity and the power to rise above politics and protect the well-being of all Coloradans. And I ask you to maintain an open mind and do that. I believe it's simply not appropriate to be moving forward with administrative rule changes during this pandemic. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you, Mr. Bradley. Yep. Go ahead, Mimi.
Thank you. Next up, we have Ms. Tricia Fanning. Ms. Fanning, you should be unmuted. One moment. There you are.
Good morning. Welcome, new commissioners. We look forward to working with all of you. My name is Tricia Fanning. I am the owner of Ardor Environmental, and I co-founded Small Operators Society along with Mr. Sam Bradley of Impetra Resources that you just heard from. SOS is a coalition of nearly 60 small oil and gas companies, which represent about 25% of the active wells in our state. SOS, like many other small businesses, are family-owned and operated companies and are supported by several other small service companies located in the rural counties throughout our great state. Contribution to our Colorado communities outside of providing affordable energy and the royalties to farmers and mineral owners, these companies utilize other locally owned small businesses, provide tax revenue to local governments, and are significant contributors of local well-paying jobs in the areas that need them. Even prior to COVID, our small operators have been struggling with the downturn of the economy and the burden of the additional regulations that are not taking into consideration differences between rural versus urban locations. One size rule does not work in a very diverse industry with many different technologies used to responsibly extract and produce a resource that provides us energy we so greatly depend on today and for our future. SOS asks that you consider us a regulated community that has been working in this field for decades as key stakeholders and experts. Engage with us to make regulations that are science-based and not politically driven. We need a fair and appropriate stakeholder process. There has been several rulemakings over the past 10 years. We don't always agree on all the proposed rules, but we are willing to participate with the Commission and our surrounding communities to continue to work for the safety and the protection of the environment. We ask you as the commissioners to represent that our industry is significantly regulated, it is significantly safe, and you help continue to educate the public on the significance of the amount of regulations that we are currently subject to not only at the state level, at the local level, but also at the federal level. And this rulemaking process does not continue to infer that we have not been working in a manner that is not and has not been protective of the public health, safety, and environment. Our industry is prideful. We are very proud of all of the work that we do, and we will continue to ask to be respectful for what we do and what we provide to the people of Colorado and to this country. Thanks.
Thank you, Ms. Fanning. Ms. Larson?
Yes, next up we have Ms. Kim Cook. Ms. Cook, you should be unmuted.
Great, thank you, Ms. Larson. Good morning, commissioners. My name is Kim Mendoza Cook, and I am the Director of Regulatory Policy here in the Rockies for Occidental Petroleum. Thank you for your time this morning, and I really appreciate the opportunity to introduce myself as well as Occidental. First off, I want to congratulate you on your appointment and congratulate Director Murphy on her new role. We're looking forward to working with you all. Occidental is an international energy company with operations in the United States, Middle East, Africa, and Latin America. Here in the DJ Basin, we are among the largest oil and gas operators in the United States. Our entire organization is focused on preventing all incidents. Our values are rooted in 5 core principles that guide all functions of our business. Lead with passion, outperform expectations, deliver our results responsibly, unleash opportunities, and always commit to good. Our Oxy Low Carbon Ventures subsidiary is advancing leading edge technologies and business solutions that economically grow our business while reducing emissions. We are committed to using our global leadership in carbon dioxide management to advance a low carbon world. My husband and I came to Colorado in 2003 and are grateful to be able to call it home. Our 9-year-old son is a Colorado native through and through, and we enjoy all that Colorado has to offer. I am proud of the work I do, not only for industry, but by working with our local governments, the environmental community, and the COGCC to revitalize Colorado's regulations to address the needs and concerns of all Coloradans, while allowing for the responsible development of the vital energy resources we all use every day. Our employees, myself included, call the Front Range home. We go to work every day wanting all of the same things that the people on this call want. Good schools and communities, clean air and water, and a healthy environment to raise our families. I look forward to working with you all over the next few months on the rulemakings and in the future as you move forward in your new roles. And I want to thank you again for your time today.
Cook.
Thank you, Ms. Cook. Next up we have, and Susan, I apologize, I am not going to pronounce your last name correctly. Susan Vaquerdez.
Thank you so much. Can you hear me?
Yes,
we can.
Great, thank you. Good morning. I am Susan Fajarzadeh, Vice President of Corporate Communications and Government Affairs for Great Western Petroleum. First and foremost, allow me to extend a warm and hearty welcome to each of you. In particular, I extend my gratitude to Chairman Robbins for his service over the past 16 months, I guess it's been, in your role as director, and I'm appreciative of the institutional knowledge and perspective that you bring to the professional commission. Also, welcome back, Director Murphy. As a means of introduction, Great Western Petroleum is the largest private operator in the DJ Basin. We produce approximately 60,000 barrels of oil equivalent each day. And while we are the largest private operator, we are by no means a large company. We employ 159 professionals between our Denver headquarters and our Longmont field office. We are Colorado-born and Colorado-built and operate exclusively in Adams and Weld counties. Our employees live and raise their families in the same areas where we operate. We are bold when it comes to the protection of the environment, communities, and Coloradans around us. As such, it is my responsibility to share firsthand how our company and our industry have leveraged technology and best practices to deliver safe and responsible energy production. I want to talk about responsibility. We've all been through a really harrowing first 6 months of 2020. Let it be said that our leadership team at Great Western feels the weight of responsibility of our employees' livelihoods as we navigate these unprecedented challenges. We have, through an agile planning team and forward-thinking executive direction, been able to avoid layoffs and other consequences many other companies across all industries have faced. Additionally, we also feel the weight of the responsibility to the families, municipalities, schools, and others that depend on mineral royalties for their families and communities' well-being. Those responsibilities are matched with our responsibility to stewardship, a core value at Great Western. Stewardship for the environment, which drives innovation, excellence, and collaboration for an ever better energy future. Stewardship for our communities, which is reflected in community investments in family services, food banks, educational programs, and volunteer hours. With those very large responsibilities comes something else, and that's opportunity. Opportunity for our industry to be a part of the economic recovery in the post-COVID world. To support these families that we employ, as well as those who receive economic benefit from the taxes, royalties, and contributions that are made by our industry. Opportunity for jobs, growth, development, and a clean, independent energy future for all Coloradans. Thank you so much for stepping up to this challenge. Thank you for embracing your responsibilities to ensure that our operations are best in class, continue to serve and support the communities where we live and operate, and are part of the thriving future that all Coloradans work so very hard for. I encourage you to engage with us on LinkedIn, on Facebook, and most particularly one-on-one as we work together in upcoming hearings and planning sessions. Great Western is committed to safety, transparency, best-in-class operations, and being great neighbors and stewards for our industry and our communities. Thank you so much once again.
Thank you for those comments.
Thank you. Next, if they're ready, I can call on Christy and Steve Douglas. We had sought to call on them earlier, but didn't find them in the participant list. Mr. and Mrs. Douglas, if you're available, you are unmuted and can speak now.
All right, hi. My name is Christy Douglas. I come to you as a concerned citizen from Commerce City. Yes, I'd like to say welcome to the new commissioners and congratulations on your appointments to the positions. I've been doing this for quite a while, and unlike the people from the industry, I have been fighting to keep fracking, especially out of our neighborhoods. The new commission has an opportunity to do something that the old commission never did, and that is to deny permits. That needs to happen. Before, permits were just anticipated as being issued, and that needs to stop. We're in a new age now. We need to get away from the dependency that we have on oil and gas. It's a boom and bust business, as we've seen through the COVID. And we're in a new age. It's time to realize that and move on. So we need to start transitioning jobs. We need to start denying permits. And we most of all need to keep the industry out of neighborhoods, populated neighborhoods, where it never belonged in the first place. We have 181 as law now. We have to recognize that. And even if local jurisdictions want to dismiss that as not being law, it's your job to recognize that fact. So that's what I'm asking of you, and I will keep on testifying until that day comes. So please recognize that we're in a transition period and we need to move forward. Thank you.
Thank you for those comments.
And Ms. Douglas, we also had noted that Steve Douglas had wanted to speak. Is Mr. Douglas with you, and would he also like to provide a comment right now?
He is, and he would.
Yes, I'm here. Thank you.
Great.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you, new commissioners in your new role. You guys are the ones who are going to be the face of the COGCC now. And I want you to understand that we need some financial assurance. I just heard Occidental speak. They are not doing well in the stock market. Neither is Extraction Oil and Gas. And there's many others that are going bankrupt. and we cannot keep them afloat on taxpayers' backs. I did not appreciate, while I was on City Council for Commerce City, I had a discussion with Dan Healy of Colorado Oil and Gas and Association, and we would not be in this mess with the encroachment on residential drilling. It has been a disaster, and that's what got this ball rolling in the wrong direction. And I urge you to really look at what's before you on these permits, because denial has to take place, not where you send it back to the operator and they make the adjustments so things look good on paper. We have to stop going that route. That is not a way we need to go. We need to start denying operators when they submit permits that are not feasible, not financially assured, and that leaves the taxpayers with many wells to plug. So you guys have a tough job, and I urge you to listen to the people of Colorado. Keep Colorado beautiful, and that means keep our air clean. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Douglas. Next, we have Jan Rose. Ms. Rose, you are unmuted.
Hi, thanks, Ms. Larson. Welcome, commissioners. Thank you for this opportunity to provide public comment. I am speaking today as a person, a citizen, somebody who cares about the planet. I am also a party to the mission change rulemaking, and by rule, I am not allowed to comment on the mission change rulemaking as a result. So I'd like to take just a moment to tell you why, as a volunteer who literally loses money because I bill by the hour for my clients, who loses money every time I, come before any of Colorado's commissions begging for a chance to save the planet. I got my first backpack when I was 9 years old, and almost all of my vacations, all my life, have been spent backpacking from California to Maine. And in all those decades, it's been inescapable, the changes that have happened in Colorado in particular as a result of climate change. And they've affected me personally because I lived in Boulder when every area above me was catching fire: Left Hand Canyon, Sunshine Canyon, Sugarloaf Mountain. Just as they are with Evergreen today, they're using helicopters to dunk to access water from the lake right behind my house in Boulder in order to try to put these fires out. So I moved up to the high country and I became an outfitter, which was great because I could take hunters into the backcountry for hunting in the fall and take families in for camping trips into the backcountry in the summer. And then the beetle kill came through and wiped out the entire section where we had our outfitting permit. And so we ended up abandoning the permit because we couldn't bring people into dead forest. In Salida, there was a 52-inch snowfall in May that killed hundreds of thousands of hummingbirds and mountain bluebirds, and it was the most heartbreaking thing. The floods of 2013 killed somebody a block away from my house. And, look at the last 11 days of our lives. My garden is suffering in ways I cannot describe to you because of this endless heat. So what I'm asking for the commission to do is please understand that while the industry may come from a place of pride, we come up from a place of passion, and we're desperately trying to save the Colorado we all know and love. I would really appreciate it if the commission would strive to strike a balance between our right to enjoy our lovely state and their right to produce a product that is inherently polluting in nature and destructive of the planet. And finally, I would like to ask that you consider your own love and enjoyment of the outdoors. And while industry brings in some revenue to the state, leisure and hospitality, our tourism industry brings us $28 billion a year in revenue and GDP for our state. Let's protect what everybody knows Colorado for, its natural beauty. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Rose. Next up, we have Mr. Rittenhouse. Give me a moment, Mr. Rittenhouse, and you are now unmuted.
Thank you, Ms. Larson. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you again. Director Murphy, Chairman Robbins, Commissioners, I appreciate the opportunity to introduce myself. My name is Joby Rittenhouse, Associate Attorney at Beatty & Wozniak. I'm a colleague of Jill Fulcher. I hail originally from Eastern Colorado, Yuma County. However, about 2 years ago, my wife, an engineer with a Denver-based E&P with Permian assets, and myself moved down to Midland, Texas. And I represent the West Texas branch of Beatty & Wozniak. Although I continue to be very active before this body, as well as the oil and gas commissions of Wyoming and North Dakota as well. Living in the Permian really has provided an incredible perspective in contrast to Colorado, and I commend the work of this body in setting what is a very high bar. I appreciate the opportunity to introduce myself, and I look forward to appearing before you in person, as well as remotely, as the case may be in the future. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rittenhouse. Let's see. Next, I have listed Miss Renee Chacon. I don't see her actually in the participant list currently, so we will move on. Next, I have Mr. Cameron Bingham. And again, I do not see Mr. Bingham in the Zoom meeting at the moment. We will come back to both of those participants, and we'll keep checking throughout the day to see if they log in. The next participant is Mr. Ian Thomas Tafoya. Again, not finding Mr. Tafoya. Looks like next up then would be Lucy Molina. Ms. Molina, we will unmute you and you may begin your comments.
Hola, buenos días. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Good morning. God bless you. I only give glory to God, so I'm not gonna sit here and kiss nobody's butt, but I am gonna thank you for your service, of course. There is no Planet X, right? This planet is on fire. I wanna remind everyone this. Oil and gas has been self-regulated, okay? And has been controlling our government for almost an entire century, okay? So yeah, it probably hurts right now that, you know, they're no longer slapping their own hands. So I got to be part of Senate Bill 181 last year, and communities like mine in Commerce City, this is hope for us, okay? Because I want to put a face to their pride, because I see they're very proud. You know, yeah, we should be proud of what we do, but I wouldn't be proud that my job is causing cancer. My grandmother just passed away from leukemia. My mother just went through radiation for 2 weeks. I live next to the oil refinery Suncor. I could literally walk over there, right? We have Suncor in the south, the Arsenal here in the center, and we have fracking up in the north. Okay, now we have about 300 wells coming up. I will let the Garfield or Garfield County people, when they said 11,000 wells, guess what? My heart broke 11,000 pieces, because your land will never heal. Our land will never heal, okay? Now, oil and gas is like a mafia. It's time to expose the dirty industry for what it is. It's dangerous, okay? It funds world wars and a major cause for immigration and refugees in towns in third world countries like mine. Okay, now we have children, and because these are American oil and gas companies in our countries that hire mercenaries, that is our military, okay, that force our people to be stuck in cages in our borders right now, and people to flee to other countries, okay? So America only sees one side, its deadly face, okay? One side of its deadly face. We all have blood in our hands, okay? Cancer, leukemia, directly or indirectly, guys, okay? Senate Bill 181, it's focused on health and safety of the community. If it gave control to the local governments, it's to protect our safety, not the safety of the corporations, okay? So again, the land will never heal. Once it's fracked, once it's been attacked, it will never heal. Okay, now this is going around worldwide. Okay, the planet is, I mean, can you feel the heat? It's been hot as hell the last few weeks. I mean, 118 in Arizona. This is, it is a global warming is real. Protect our families, protect my family. In Commerce City, we have no drinking water. We have air that it smells like crap here every day. Please help us protect, especially low income communities and communities of color like mine. We face environmental racism every day the last 100 years, okay? So do your job and protect us, protect our community, protect our children, and also include us. Por favor, incluyanos. Estamos aquí, okay? We are here. Please include us. Still, after 2 years, my mom doesn't know what's going on. A lot of my community doesn't. I have to sit here and translate things to them. Please, I mean, we're so behind, left in the dark, and they still want to move on with more permits. Please protect the community.
Ms. Molina,
Again,
I apologize.
thank you for your service.
Thank you.
God bless
Thank
you.
for your time. So next up, we have Miss Amanda Blanchard. Ms. Blanchard, give us a moment. We will have you unmuted and you are ready to go.
Good morning. So my name is Amanda Blanchard. For 12 years, I worked as a biologist, mostly evaluating NEPA impacts to natural resources and wildlife through the National Environmental Policy Act for proposed energy projects, including solar, wind, coal, oil and gas, transmission, and geothermal. Now, as an environmental and regulatory manager at SG Interests, I've been able to apply both my regulatory and biology knowledge to existing and proposed development. I've also been able to apply my formal education of sustainable multiple use management through meeting the needs of Colorado citizens' energy demands while also protecting wildlife and other natural resources. Senate Bill 191 doesn't specifically say that COGCC is tasked with multiple use management, but it is. And there are many ways to manage multiple resources. Therefore, as an expert in oil and gas management, natural resource management, environmental impact analysis, and sustainability, I have been an extremely active stakeholder in hopes of contributing ideas of successful management strategies, such as conditions-based management and critical issues analysis that aid in alternative location analysis and cumulative impacts analysis, which are dramatically different in rural versus urban areas. I am proud to be a part of providing Colorado's energy demands and luxuries because I am on the front lines of planning, development, and production. I have significant experience in other states, and what I see in Colorado is above and beyond other states. Colorado should be proud of their local energy production and the extreme efforts made by operators to make it clean. It is my hope that this commission will take time to listen and not just nod, to operator input, to ask questions, to fully understand the rule. The simplicity of understanding a rule and its impacts is the difference between a complex economic crisis or continued economic sustainability in Colorado. This commission's interpretation of 181 holds the future of Colorado's economy. I don't envy your task, but I am here willing and able to assist you in as many ways as possible. It is clear that 181 is the means to an end of oil and gas in Colorado. However, dragging operators through the mud, leading to bankruptcy or financial troubles due to public's misconception and fear of what they don't understand has created fear-based rules. This is irresponsible of the state of Colorado. There are better ways to manage resources and there are better ways to alleviate fears. I encourage you to find and implement those ways. Finally, I have heard, unfortunately, former Director Robbins and other staff members mention that these proposed rules are practices already being done by good operators. This is not true. These practices may be implemented as a result of land use agreements, specific affected resources, conditions of permit approval, etc., but it's definitely not based on good versus bad. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Blanchard. Next up, we have Ms. Chacon. We see that you have joined the meeting, so you are now unmuted, and if you'd like to provide your comments, we're ready for you. Ms. Chacon, I apologize. Ms. Chacon, sorry to interrupt, but your internet connection seems to be rather poor. I'm not sure if by chance you might be able to call in on a line, and if you wanted to send to me the phone number that you'd be calling in on, we would make sure to find you. We're having problems hearing you.
Sure.
Okay. Let's move on to Mr. Clark. And we'll wait to get a phone number from Ms. Chacon and we'll come back to her. Mr. Clark, if you'd like to provide your comments, I think you should be unmuted. Oh, one moment. Let me try this again. There you are. You're unmuted. Mr. Clark, are you there? Okay, well, we'll come back to Mr. Clark. Looks like Mr. Bingham has joined the call. We will try Mr. Bingham and see if he's available at the moment.
Yep,
Mr. Bingham?
yep, I'm on.
Great, go ahead.
Yeah, my name is Cameron Bingham. I'm with Summit Midstream Companies. I've been in the oil and gas business now for over 20 years. Been a proud member of the Western Slope for almost 20 years as well. And I just wanted to say welcome and appreciate you guys holding this hearing to introduce ourselves to you. I just want to kind of add to Amanda's comments. I know she just added that Colorado already does have a lot of stringent rules already. I know that most of us operators and those who work out here in the field really work hard to implement them and then make sure that we are safe, we're environmentally friendly, and we take care of all of the assets that we own. I've been pleased with what our industry has done, what we brought to the table, the technology that our own industry has brought to the table, and I just want to make sure to reiterate that going forward. Just welcome you all and say thanks for having me, and that's really all my comments I have for today. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Bingham. Next, we'll go back to Ms. Chacon. Let me unmute you, and we should be ready for you. Ms. Chacon, are you there?
Yes, can you hear me now?
We can, yes.
Sweet, thank you. Cuautitlanetzi, buenos dias and good morning. My name is Renee Millar Chacon. I'm a Diné Mexica woman with ancestors from Southern Colorado and New Mexico since before it was Colorado. I'm an Indigenous Chicana activist, educator at Spirit of the Senate for Winds American Indian Council, and most importantly, mother of 2 sons. I live on the land of the Cheyenne, Ute, and Arapaho people we now call Central Colorado. And unfortunately, I also live very near Suncor. That has been known for environmental racism and targeting for decades and ages that has choked BIPOC industry and contributed to sex trafficking in the area from truck stops, extractive industries for decades. We find ourselves in a time where the narrative of the dominant American identity could no longer control or understand the realities of current, future generations, social and climate injustices. And if we want to truly survive, we need to create a legitimate transition for all of our socioeconomic statuses and all of the previous targeting that has happened to BIPOC from environmental racism. And we need to heal the false narratives. We can discover that the real culture that has produced us is predatory in nature to often BIPOC communities and inhumanely capitalistic to target them, choking them for decades. It is invisible. It is real systemic violence, and it is also targeting further during a pandemic. We do have the ability to change for our future generations, and the reason I did the land acknowledgement is to recognize that we need to be good ancestors now. My husband served in the U.S. Navy, and I as an ombudsman for about 8 years. We love our land and we love our people, but we are not okay with the insidious pollution that has transformed Colorado from the air, earth, and land. I am an Indigenous woman that unfortunately to this day also has to deal with the disgraceful epidemic of missing and murdered Indigenous children, women, men, two-spirits with no accountability or intervention both on the federal and state level, including rural and urban. We've survived for centuries and we know what predators look like. We know what targeting looks like, and we know what harm looks like. Most of all, we know what violence looks like. We are asking you to uphold 181 and to make sure that Colorado oil and gas gets out. It's honestly time to transform our economies. It's time to transform our education. Most of all, it's time to steward the environment the way we were always supposed to. And if we understand that it connects to our indigeneity, it's incredibly important that we keep it there for the next 7 generations of clean air, land, and water. We already have evidence in Colorado of low standards being harmful to children, breathing in poisonous effects of so many different chemicals, from benzene at Belo Romero and many others that cause severe complications during this COVID pandemic. It's not a warning to Colorado on what can happen if our leaders continue to be harmful than heroic. It's already been proven what is happening to Colorado because of current health standards are too weak and not adequately protecting us from particle pollution effects of premature death, heart attacks, strokes, heart disease, congestive heart failure, asthma attacks, and long-term exposure, dramatically increasing this risk of COVID to death. We need to remember our legislation is an effort to have independent, uncorrupted laws to protect us the way that it needed to be and truly be enforced to human standards with our human rights in the forefront, to be able to have equal access, as we always should, to simple basic human needs to live. We do not need to have any more cowardly responses to decline the standards that we should have always had for the environmental injustice. We need to stand for the social welfare of BIPOC Americans living here and near fossil fuel industries. This is a human rights
I
offense.
apologize about interrupting, but you have exceeded your time. Thank you. Next, we'll go back to Mr. Clark. We'll see if Mr. Clark is available. Give me a moment and we'll unmute him. Mr. Clark, are you there? Okay. Doesn't appear that he is. Let's see. Let's go next to Susan Noble. Ms. Noble, you're unmuted, and if you'd like to begin your comments. Ms. Noble, are you able to
Yes,
hear?
I'm so
Hi.
sorry. Thank you very much.
Oh, that's fine.
I snuck off to take a call and I was in the midst of it. So I apologize for that. And I want to congratulate Chairman Robbins and the commissioners on their new role. I appreciate what you're going to be doing for us and for putting Colorado and Coloradans first. 2.5 years ago, I was a retired person living with my husband in Commerce City, in northern Commerce City, when I first learned of the possibility of oil and gas activity in this northern area. At the time, it was only about, 3 sites, 5 sites, something like that. We're now up to 11 sites, and as a fellow Commerce Citian said earlier, around 200 to 300 wells. It is an imposing idea to think that we will be facing that kind of incursion in residential areas such as Reunion, Buffalo Run, Buffalo Mesa, Turnberry, Potomac Farms, North Range Village, Buckley Ranch. There are 30,000 people who live in this area. 30 square miles are impacted and will be fracked under by these wells. 2 of them, if they are approved. There are 2 that are in Adams County, unincorporated Adams County. The balance are in Commerce City themselves. The sites are in Commerce City. However, all of the wells frack into Commerce City. As I said, I first learned of this 2.5 years ago. And at that time, I started a group of residents who had similar concerns, and we called ourselves North Range Concerned Citizens. We spent enormous hours learning all we possibly could about oil and gas. It was like drinking from a fire hose, as you might well imagine. But we take great pride in the fact that we don't come forward with false information and that we provide you with accurate information when we come to speak before the COGCC, as we have numerous times over the last 2.5 years. One thing has led to another, and I am now a council member for Commerce City. My platform was health and safety, and everyone was aware of my role in helping to start North Range Concerned Citizens. Even this week, as I sit here before you, I was appointed acting mayor. Now, I am not here speaking to you to represent the City Council of Commerce City or Commerce City itself. I am here again simply as a person who lives in Colorado, a 5th generation Coloradan who is desperately saddened by the proliferation of oil and gas in our communities. I am concerned about proximity, I'm concerned about intensity, and I'm concerned about concentration. In 1951, when the Colorado Oil and Gas Conservation Law was implemented, we were looking at simple wells, vertical wells. We were not looking at horizontal wells that frack 2 to 3 miles under homes and potentially cause ground subsidence, earthquakes, pollute groundwater. We have no idea what the repercussions will be. And as we look ahead, we can certainly be concerned as well about the impact of the economy on oil and gas and saddling all of our communities with wells that are left behind.
Ms. Noble, I apologize, but your time has expired.
I thank you very much for your time, and I hope to see you again in the future. Thank you so much for your service.
Thank you, Ms. Noble. So we're going to take one more public comment from, I apologize, I closed my list. I believe it's Rana Sanchez. And after we hear from Ms. Sanchez, we will then break. We, as Chair Robbins noted, we have a pre-hearing conference in the mill levy rulemaking that starts at 11, and that will be on this same Zoom. So once we end with Rana, I would ask everyone just to leave the meeting. And if you have joined us and you're waiting for the mill levy rulemaking, please do leave. We'll stop this meeting and then we'll restart it for that mill levy pre-hearing conference.
And then we'll restart public comment at 1 o'clock. Is that right, Ms. Larson?
That is correct.
Okay.
So with that, Rana, let's see, you are unmuted. So if you'd like to go ahead.
Okay, thank you for this opportunity to address you. On December 2nd, 2004, I was diagnosed with leukemia. After the initial shock, I asked my doctor a lot of questions, one of them being, what caused this? He said one of 2 things, benzene or bad luck. The luck I can do nothing about, but the benzene I can. I lived in Weld County, Greeley, to be more specific, for 40 years. During that time, I saw many changes, and I have to say the most life-altering change I ever experienced was the addition of mega amounts of oil wells. We all know that oil wells emit benzene, so my husband and I decided to move. We looked around for places without wells, and we found Reunion in Commerce City. We asked the builder if there were any plans to have oil wells in the area, and he lied to us and said no. Now the oil and gas companies have come up with a plan to inundate the neighborhoods in Commerce City with over 200 wells. This is insane. Combine that with Suncor and you have a recipe for killing the residents. House Bill 181 states that you need to address health and safety issues regarding oil and gas development. If you plan on adhering to House Bill 181, you will not allow oil wells in our neighborhoods. The wells will destroy us. I also beg you not to approve these wells for financial reasons. Extraction Oil, who has most of the wells, recently filed for bankruptcy. So if anything goes wrong with their wells, and the odds are something will, they will not be able to rectify or help the situation. The Commerce City Council has a majority of people who either work for oil and gas or have some direct benefit from it. They're not concerned with our health and safety, so the COGCC is our only hope. Please do the right thing and keep oil and gas out of our neighborhoods. A good example of poor self-regulation is what's going on at Bella Romero in Greeley. Everybody seems to say that the air is okay, but when they did testing from an outside source, the benzene emissions exceeded safety standards. Thank you for this opportunity again, and I appreciate the work that you're about to undertake.
Thank you, Ms. Sanchez. Mr. Chair, that concludes the public comment session for this morning. And as you noted, we will return at 1 o'clock.
Great. Okay, folks. Thank you to everyone who has participated this morning. And we have our list of folks that will be participating this afternoon. And we will return for public comment at 1 o'clock. I do not think we need a motion to adjourn since we're keeping the meeting open. So we will just leave the meeting and we'll be back in a couple hours. Thank you, everybody.